So today we're going to talk about menopause. Oh yeah. So if you have, I know that when I was in my 30s, I wasn't interested in that. I thought it was in everybody's heads. And as I got to my 40s, I was dealing with some issues, but now in my 50s, as I enter into my 60s, it's something that I know is affecting many of my friends, many of our followers, listeners, viewers. So today we're going to learn with Lisa Geyer, CEO of Live Longer Medical, how to embrace menopause. So fasten your seatbelt and get ready to dance because we're going to learn and grow together. Here we go.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here. Right here, and when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for you.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening and my viewing friends. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful best day ever. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time into the classroom, the Lillian McDermott radio show /classroom, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal. And it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening and viewing friends, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. And I said, yes, I say, viewing friends, you can watch us all live and be a part of the audience, ask questions at facebook.com/Lillian's radio show. And if you go to whenyouneedafriend.com and subscribe, you will get notification as to when we are on live so you can be a part of the learning and the growth in this classroom that has changed my life. And I hope it's helped shape you, inform you, and given you some direction that is beneficial to you. So today, board certified health coach and CEO of Live Longer Medical and I went to a musical called Menopause the Musical, or went to a play called Menopause the Musical. I've been changed from this moment. We laughed so hard. We were the group of friends. We laughed so hard. And after we stopped laughing, we thought, wouldn't this be a great topic in the classroom? Because this is something that we're all women and men because men need to support us women as well. It affects all of us. And so we thought, wouldn't this be a great way to do a classroom on menopause? Because, after watching in the depiction of a woman who is premenopausal, menopausal, postmenopausal, with uncontrollable mood swings, weight gain, loss of libido, and hot flashes. And so, oh my, if that sounds like you, it doesn't have to be you.
And we'll add brain fog in there too.
Yes.
But
add brain fog. I forgot. Because that's what happens. Yeah. And so, but it doesn't need to be. And so we have Lisa with her expertise and knowledge of Live Longer Medical. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that my friend and CEO of Live Longer Medical is here to do just that. Give and receive love and knowledge. So welcome, Lisa, to the classroom. Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. This is a fun topic.
Well, it is a fun topic after we saw the musical, right?
Made it a
was
little more fun.
A lot of people, oh my, and I was going to bring my fan. Maybe Robert can get me the fan. It's right by the music in the console in the living room. I just want to bring my fan because that is something that I remember Anne, a friend of mine, Anne, every time she was having a flash, oh my God, that fan would just start. She had her own portable fan with her. And so every time I look at a fan, I think of Anne just fanning herself. But share your experience and what you've been mastering and helping women from all over the world, relieve some of these symptoms. So share a little bit about your background, Lisa, and why menopause became the topic today.
Well, I've had the honor of really working with thousands of women over 20 years. And, you hear lots of different stories. You have women who literally coast through menopause and have virtually little to no symptomology. But then, there are patients, they're complicated. And as you listen to their stories, and if you listen long enough, you can kind of differentiate their needs. And, while it seems overwhelming, there are wonderful ways that we can address those issues and make some natural changes. It doesn't have to be so dramatic. And in our clinic, one of the things that we really pride ourselves in is that we do not feel that one size fits all. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to treating menopause, rather than just handing women the synthetic horse urine, we choose to use more of a bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. And, it's plant-based. And so it's more like what the body recognizes. So it's a more gentler experience. But there's a lot to go into that. But it's truly an experience of listening to the patient, looking at what their symptoms are expressing, and then determining what's going to be best for that person.
Sometimes I wonder what people are thinking when they see horse urine and think, I wonder if this is good for menopause. I wonder if this is good for this or that. Where did that download come from that made them think, okay, this is something that would be beneficial? Like probiotics. I've been doing a little bit more research on probiotics and knowing that the bacteria in a cow is different than my bacteria. And so how important plant-based is for many people who are relying on, Lisa, I have to tell you, I was at an event and I had some probiotic. It was not probiotic. It was a shake that was a plant-based smoothie. A lot of people drink smoothie and it has whey and dairy and wheat and all those things. And this was a pure form of a smoothie, but it was plant-based. And this doctor said to me, "Oh, I don't do plants. I only do meat. I don't do fruit. I don't do plants." And I went, "Oh my, I've never heard of that." I said, how does that work? How do you work without fiber? She goes, "Oh, that's not real.
That's all keto." It's very keto.
But even keto has vegetables.
Yeah,
even keto, nothing other than meat. And she's happy as a clam. And, because it's meat. Anyway, so I thought, there's so many times that we have these thoughts of what works best for our body. Maybe that works best for her, but she's guiding people into this all meat, no vegetables, no fruits, especially, the antioxidants of berries and the broccoli and all that. She's missing out, but she said fiber is not really needed. So I thought, I don't want to be in that bathroom after she goes there, because it's dead animals. They're just dead animals. And that does not help us too. So how do you help somebody that is like that, meat only, doesn't want to add the vegetables? How do vegetables and berries and fruit help somebody who's going through menopause? Let's talk about real quick nutrition.
Well, the antioxidants are very vitally important. And, they've even shown that vitamin E and vitamin D significantly will reduce hot flashes. So having a very balanced diet is vital. And there's a test that we do, and I talk about it a lot, but to me, it's a nice barometer so that you can get a good look at where someone's good, where their nutrition stands, whether it's good or whether it's bad. And it's called a Nutri test. It's made by Genova Labs. And I know some other companies have some things that are similar, but we really like to use it because you can look, are they getting their vitamins? Are they getting their essential fats? What do their bacteria, what does it look like? Are they getting enough friendly bacteria? It also looks at heavy metals and if they've had any exposure to that. All those things can affect our health because everything works around our hormones. Our hormones guide so much for women. It has to be a symphony. And if it really sounds like they're off key, then we have an issue. So if you're going to choose a practitioner, regardless of where you're living, you want to make sure that they are trained and they have an understanding of hormones and all the different hormones. For women, we have estriol, estrone, estradiol, and testosterone. We also have our thyroid hormones. All of those things have to work together for us not to gain weight, for us not to have mood changes, for us to sleep well, to have energy, to work out, to change our muscle mass. All those things are vitally important. And it does change and modify. So you need to work with someone who's going to actually take the time to check your hormones at least once a year. Our preference is twice a year because they'll change. And you'll notice that. We were doing pellet therapies last night, and we had this one patient who we thought she was running late. She wasn't running late. She said it's her most important meeting of the month. So, she was running in the office for those pellets. And those dramatically change her life. For her, she gets testosterone. It takes her brain fog away and gives her sharpness of thought. So all those things that we lose as we age, and we lose them more rapidly because of our exposures in the environment, how we've been brought up, just how we've chosen to eat. I mean, just our diet alone is enormous. And you were talking about berries. Well, berries have a lot of glutathione. Well, glutathione really has a cleansing effect and detoxifies. So, what's coming in is affecting every organ, including our hormones. So all of those antioxidants and glutathione, those things are super important for not just our overall health, but it affects how our hormones will methylate and how we process them.
Amazing. We were created so perfectly, but then we have all these synthetics in our lives, whether they're toxins, even people that put lotions on, we don't even know that we're putting chemicals on our skin. Food that we're eating that is processed, lots of sugars, those things aggravate how we feel, but yet we're addicted to it so that we keep consuming it. And it's like, what is that? We do the same thing, expecting a different different outcome. And the reality is that, as we were watching this, the first time I saw it, like I said, I didn't think it was a funny play. But watching it with you and all our girlfriends, I don't know if I was laughing more for myself or I was uniting with all the women that were there. And we were one. We all had this one thing in common, which is menopause. And then you would see the men, they were like, okay, can I laugh now? Can I laugh now? Depending where the stage of life they were. Can we not? Can we laugh now? And you and I were looking around and just enjoying. And so this is a part of maybe a rite of passage. And, but the myth has been, and I Robert brought me my fan, but this is the myth that we have to fan ourselves, that that our hair has to fall out, that all these things are happening. So let's talk about, as we were sitting there and laughing, we were just laughing and enjoying the rite of passage or that union, that unity. Let's talk about laughter as we enter into this. It could be a dread or it could be a rite of passage. So let's talk about laughter and how laughter helps with menopause.
Well, laughter is important, whether it's menopause or any other thing. We can take time to laugh at it. It enhances immunity and it releases stress. And it really helps you get a more peaceful approach to what you're dealing with. And I think that's why that play is so successful. It does bring everyone together, like you said, Lily, and it allows you to just look at all those negative symptoms from a different perspective. Now, when people have those symptoms and they're just ignoring them, and I guess laughter is good to kind of help you overcome it, but at least let's address it too, right? Let's figure out a path to get away from all of that. And most women, after 2 years of going through menopause, those symptoms begin to diminish, but not always. I mean, we see women every day that are struggling and struggling and struggling with those symptoms. So, and you don't want to ignore them. And people as a whole, you get used to negativity sometimes. You get used to those negative symptoms. Don't do that. Take the time to go, think about, how did I feel when I was in my 20s? And, do I have to feel this way today? And I say no.
Isn't that what you do when you do the restoration with the pelleting or the bioidentical? You're restoring them to that. Does that make sense? Is there a reason? Are we creating the reason? So hear me out.
Yeah.
Do we have menopause because of our lifestyle, or do we have menopause because that is nature's way to get us ready for retirement or retire for a slower life when we're building and hurrying and all that?
I think it's a combination. I think it's a time of life where there is a change, but I don't think it has to be as negative. And I think, unfortunately, because of our exposures, because of the things that we live and exist in our lives, those hormones are more diminished than they should be. So I'm thankful that we can take plant-based options and make micronized hormones that can be a replacement and bring those hormones up to a healthier level. Now, sometimes we see people who can't maintain them. So you have to address that a little bit differently. Okay. But most people will get those hormones, and the pellets are awesome. Pellet therapies, it's an insertion. It's a very, very tiny insertion. And women and men love it. They don't have to put a cream on every day. They don't have to remember to take their pills. And it's a slow release, so it takes time to absorb into the body. And the body uses what it needs to keep those hormones where they are. I mean, you can see in women, their wrinkles will diminish when they get their hormones balanced. Their weight will be more balanced. They lose that belly fat. And for men, the same thing. I see it in men. And I remember one time a man in our office started on testosterone therapy, and he was having so many difficulties, and he was a writer. And I remember him running through my parking lot screaming, "Testosterone, yay!" It really dramatically made a difference in his life. He got his life back. He was exercising again. He had energy, and his moods changed. And if you ask women, for men, or testropause as they call it, for men, it's mood, it's energy, it's the ability to work out and have good muscle mass. So it's different for men than it is women. And of course, the play we went to is all about women, but there is some crossover there. Yeah. But your question is good. And what we have to remember is that what has our diet been like over the years? Because that will diminish the levels of our hormones. It just chews them up. And if we are eating really, really healthy diets, does that mean that we're going to have perfectly normal, healthy hormones? No, it varies from person to person. Everyone has their own biochemistry. And what a great thing to be able to enhance that so that we do have longevity. And that's the cool thing about anti-aging, if you want to call it medicine. Mm-hmm. And years ago, I met with Suzanne Summers, and she's written many, many books. Yeah. And she's just done a great job, in my opinion, of educating women on the options that we have and the choices that we can make. And it's vital that we have that, because the one-size-fits-all horse urine, it doesn't work. I mean, I've seen countless women who, they come in and, I've been taking it, and, look at me, I've gained all this weight, and I'm depressed, and I have no motivation. And, it goes on and on and on, the foggy thinking, forgetful thinking. No. Do I think that we need to live that way? Absolutely not. Now, there are, lots of things that contribute to those negative symptoms, and hormones can be just a piece of it. But in many people, it's the answer. So it's worthy of looking into and spending time.
As I was listening to you, I remember you turning to me and going, I really haven't had these kinds of symptoms. And it could be that perhaps maybe you're so on top of your vitamin intake, and you do the Nutrival, what is it, twice a year, or do you do it
I do
once
it
a year?
twice a year.
You do it
At
twice a
least.
year, and you've done
I
that
do.
religiously for a long time. I want to do that. I know I want Robert to do it as well. And because, that's like a roadmap for you. I know that's a roadmap for you. But then I hear horrible stories. I've never done pellets. I have done the yam and the creams and I've done all that, but it is messy. And sometimes you don't want to put it on, before you go to bed or whatever. And you were telling me before we started the classroom that sometimes you don't want all the creams to have the testosterone, the progesterone, and the estrogen together, because you want the testosterone in the morning and the estrogen and the progesterone at night, and so that you can sleep better. So there's so many different combinations that people don't even think about. But what I hear about the pellets is, oh my God, they put the pellets in and it was the wrong amount. And now I have like 3 months, 6 months of this aggressive so let's talk about how Live Longer Medical decides how you calculate what pellets to give, when to give it, how much to give. What's your calculation?
No, it's a really, really good question. So we work with a company called Bioidentical. And what I love about Bioidentical is they have a fabulous, their training is amazing. And secondly, they have a fabulous algorithm that we use their protocol, their program, so to speak, and we enter in the results of the lab testing, symptoms from the women or men, their age. I mean, there's a whole lot that goes into this algorithm. And they have been able to sort that out and create the proper dosing. Dosing is vital. And yes, people have gotten too much because people just think I'm just going to throw those in there. And they're really not being calculative about exactly what that patient needs. And symptoms are key, but those lab tests are vital. And we require our patients, I mean, we won't pellet them if they don't get their labs done. And we require that they get them checked in 6 weeks. And we follow up in 8 weeks. We're very diligent about making sure we spend the time with our patients. Now, for our clinic, we're integratively focused, but we do take insurance. So most of these things are covered. The pellets themselves are not, but at least all the things that you need to watch your dosing and make sure it's accurate, those are taken care of. We might prefer to err on, a more accurate dosing as opposed to giving too much. And I know there are some clinics that think, oh, I'll just put in a little extra, but we just don't do that. You just don't know what that's going to be like for the patient. And some people might be super sensitive and they just can't manage it. So every person is unique. And I am very fortunate. I don't have the hot flashes. I just never had any of that. My worst symptom might be low libido. So I take testosterone in the morning. It helps with my foggy thinking if I have a morning like that, which I don't have too much, but for me, it's an energizer. So, if I look at most of our women, they love getting the testosterone. And for the majority of the population, they don't realize that women need testosterone too. Significantly lower dosing than men, but we need it too. It's vital. So, and again, like I said, it varies from patient to patient, and we're very meticulous about the dosing. It's vitally important for each person.
Yeah. And so for those of you who are listening going, I want some testosterone, I want some this, so you can go to Live Longer Medical. You can go to my website, whenyounneedafriend.com, and you can click on to my sponsors page, and you're linked up to Lisa. So their number is 321-327-2980. That's 321-327-2980. And so you can start your journey. Now, when you said you take testosterone in the morning, how do you take testosterone in the morning?
Mine's in the form of a cream. It's in a PLO gel, so the absorption's really good. And, I might remind everyone that whatever you put on your skin is in your bloodstream in about 20 minutes, depending on what it is. So always know what you're wearing, whether it's a face cream or body cream or anything you spray on your body. You want to know what it is and make sure you know what's in it. Having said that, I use, a bioidentical testosterone cream, and that's what I use in the morning.
And
It
do you
works.
guys have that at Live Longer Medical?
We can order it for our patients, yes.
Okay.
You pick that up at a compounding pharmacy.
Okay, so let's talk about other things that we can do. Like I know that you have vitamin D shots.
Mhm.
What are some of the symptoms of low D in your life?
Well, we see low vitamin D levels in a majority of the population. And even here in Florida, I live in Florida, we have the sun, but, most statistics say if you don't get 30 minutes a day, you're not getting enough vitamin D. So 30 minutes a day in the sun, I should say. And that doesn't mean sunbathing and baking and burning, but, just exposure to the sun.
Yeah.
But we all don't always get that much, and then people process that differently, and so their levels tend to be low. And yes, vitamin D, we'll see low immunity, low energy. There's a myriad of symptoms with low vitamin D, but the biggest we see is immunity issues. But it can also affect women with hot flashes. There are studies that show that low vitamin D will cause people to have more hot flashes.
Depression
Foggy
too.
thinking,
Yeah.
and depression. It's huge for depression. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Moodiness.
you had mentioned vitamin E, that's something that you can get over the counter,
Yep.
and make sure that when you have E, you get the natural form of E. You don't
Right.
want synthetic. It might be cheaper, but you do not want the synthetic vitamin E. So what does vitamin E do for people that are on?
The studies have shown it really helps with hot flashes as well. So, it's one of those nutrients that has a lot of benefits. Vitamin E is awesome for a lot of things. It's really good for our skin as well.
Mhm.
But, again, work with a practitioner that's going to look at all your symptoms and help you put together a plan that you're comfortable with and that
Yeah.
works for you. And it could be a combination of things.
And I want to encourage all of you who are watching that if you have a question, put a Q and write your question, because this is your classroom. This is our classroom where we learn. We get the experts to come in, and you're able to ask anything that you want, and it's free. Where else can you go where something like this is free? And so I ask that you go to whenyouneedafriend.com. Please become a subscriber. Like I said at the beginning of the class, this is where you will get all the information of who's going to be in the classroom, what time we're going to be in the classroom, and that way you can join us and be a part of the teacher's pets as well. And so go to whenyouneedafriend.com, and I ask that when you subscribe, you look at all the different ways that you can stay connected with the classroom. You could stay connected through social media, so like and follow us there. YouTube, you can subscribe there, because as soon as this is done, we will post this video on YouTube. Of course, we have the podcasts as well. If you don't like to see people, you can just hear. That's fine too. Now, the one thing I ask that while you're in the classroom is that you click onto my sponsors page. When you go there, these are people and companies, organizations that have taken a stand with the information that is being shared. We're empowering people to take their health back naturally, because, you can take all the synthetics you want, but is your body designed for that? Was your body created for anything synthetic? And so we don't even know what the results are. And one pill takes another one, and then another one, and another one. But there are no studies that the combinations of pills that you might be taking, if you're taking more than 2-3 pills, there are no studies saying what are the side effects of all these pills. So I want to encourage you to take your health back and look at some of these sponsors like Liberty Health Share, Keep Me Safe Organics. Keep Me Safe Organics, from head to toe, natural. This is what I use. No synthetic, all organic, no GMOs, no pesticides. From head to toe, you can go to my page. You can click on them. It'll take you there, and you get 10% off if you put Lily 10, your entire purchase. First Alternative Care, Dr. Stephen Grable, who is absolutely phenomenal, functional, integrative, holistic medical doctor in Jacksonville, Florida. You can click onto his image, and it will take you to his website as well. And both Lisa and Dr. Grable can help you. So if you're anywhere around the world they will be able to help you as quickly as a teleconferencing. So you can reach out to them as well. So the pharmacy in Merritt Island is doing great things. And now you'll be able to get topicals through them at the pharmacy. And just mention my name and you get 20% off your first order. And ground therapy, we talked to Clint Ober yesterday, and I know, Lisa, you're just so passionate about grounding as well. So ground therapy and brain tap, these are all different ways that you can help your life grow. Support our sponsors the way that they are supporting the classroom. And by the way, you too can become a sponsor by becoming an enrolled student in the classroom and donate your time, your talent, your treasure. Help us spread the word. This information is empowering information. We're no longer victims, right, Lisa? Oh, and Live Longer Medical, of course. Live Longer Medical, you can find Live Longer Medical at 102 5th Avenue, Indy Atlantic, Florida. And you can call them at 321-327-2980, or you can just go to Live Longer Medical, click onto the picture of their logo, and it'll take you right to their beautiful website. You know, we have been convinced that this is the natural progression of aging versus this could be the natural progression of synthetic food, synthetic drugs, synthetic chemicals, all these things. Perhaps maybe that is the symptom of menopause in our life. And we've just taken it as, oh, that's the next phase in life. What can you say about that, Lisa?
Well, you know, again, I think the biggest piece that we all have to know is our own biochemistry. What are we made of? What do we have too much of? What are we lacking, and how can we fix it? I don't think it's rocket science, but I think it takes a detailed approach and someone that's going to take the time to work with each person individually. And it is time. I always tell patients when they come in for hormones, you need to give us 6 months. It takes 6 months to figure people out and make sure that you're addressing all of their symptoms. Long ago, before we really had a lot of pellet therapies, we used only creams. Sometimes pills, but you lose a lot in digestion, so I don't recommend the oral form. It's not as stable.
I love creams.
I think they're great, but you know, it's the cool thing about creams is if women are taking them in the morning and they find that, for me, I can't take progesterone in the morning, it makes me sleepy. Yeah. So I take it at night. So, you know, everyone has a different way that they can do all of these things. And sometimes with pellets, you get the testosterone, but you use a progesterone cream. It kind of just depends on the person. So I think you really have to take time to slow your life down just a little bit and stop and take a minute to address that part of your life and make a decision. Do I want to do those things that can enhance my longevity and actually make me feel great every day? And am I going to focus on that? Or am I just going to focus on my illness? So, you know, you can focus on your wellness, so you can focus on your illness. Right. I even have a sign in my office that states that. So just to remind people, it is really vitally important that you take the time to figure out where you're going to put your energy.
Yeah. And that is one thing that many people don't understand, that when you ask, you know, when you're looking for something and you're looking for what you don't want, you get more of what you don't want. Yeah. So if you're focused on your illness, you'll get more illness. So, but if you're focused on your wellness, first it's the thought, then it's the feeling, then it's the action, then I'm going to start, you know, thinking about being well. Then my feelings are, oh, I'm achieving wellness. And then the action is, what can I do? What else can I do to be well? So let's talk about these hormones. Why do our hormones control us so much? And why, when they just get out of balance, they wreak so much havoc?
You know, the biggest thing I see is the balance and how we lack that. And for women, we have so many hormones that are vitally important. So if we're checking hormones for a woman, we're looking at estradiol, estrone, testosterone. We do an FSH. So we're looking at all these different hormones that they need to be synchronized. They need to have proper levels. And so again, if you're creating a protocol for each person, for instance, testosterone in women, they'll have low libido. They will have low energy. It can cause the ability for them to work out, produces less. In other words, when they work out, they feel like they're not losing weight, or they're not
Building
gaining any
muscle.
muscle strength.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Muscle strength is huge. And, you know, and it varies too if people are getting proper protein, if they're getting proper nutrients, because that's going to affect how all those hormones absorb. So when we meet with a patient, we really want them to have a good diet, well balanced. They do need fiber. They do need protein. And if they're not getting protein, that's also going to affect how they produce muscle and how they work out, and how their workouts are productive. So all those things matter. So even though we're just looking at hormones, there's really a big picture, you know, to look at. And also if they have any toxic issues that need to be addressed, because that's going to burn off all those hormones.
So what happens to someone that says, okay, I'm just going to go through all these symptoms because it's my curse? It's the cross I have to bear for the next 10 years, you know?
Yeah.
And so people who don't try to balance their hormone, does that affect them? I mean, if they just decide that they're going to let their hormones decline, how does that affect their life ultimately?
You know, I've seen patients that do nothing. Very few do nothing, though, I have to say. Once you look at a lab test and you kind of see where you are, it's convincing, because it's science, and you can't really, excuse me, argue science too much. I know that I had a woman in her 80s, and she chose to take nothing, but you could see those changes that she could have prevented. So I think, you know, again, it's a matter of choice, how you want to live, and if you want to live strong, or have some of those deficiencies. It's really rare to see someone that maintains those hormones and doesn't need something.
And you know, progesterone, let's talk about progesterone for a second, because so when I was in my early 40s, so my early 40s, I had some fibroid tumors. And of course, my doctor suggested that I had my uterus removed. And that put me into, I guess, menopause, or that maybe skipped it. I don't know what it would do. So if somebody doesn't have an organ like the uterus, I still have my ovaries and I still have my cervix. Too much information, I'm sure, for all you guys. But those are things that were kept inside, because I went to a doctor who said, you need these organs. You know, yes, maybe you have some tumors and your uterus, and we're removing that, but I'm going to save as many organs as I possibly can.
Right.
Brilliant. I didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
I wish I would have saved my uterus. I wish I would have changed my lifestyle, changed my nutrition at the time. Those are things I could have done differently. I don't regret I'm not looking back and regret, but I'm looking forward and saying, you know, I that's why I'm so passionate about this, that we can reverse these things with a healthy, whole food, plant-based, health and nutrition. And so when you're looking at, you know, the fact that I had these organs missing, does that change the way you treat your patient?
Of course, but as well, we're going to do the lab testing, because that will tell us if your ovaries are still producing hormone. And in most women, they will continue to do that. And that is a blessing that you had a surgeon that didn't take those as well.
Thank God. Yeah.
Because sometimes they'll just take everything, and it's really a blast for women who are forced into early menopause. And I've seen it even in women in their 30s, because they had issues. You know, again, you know, you have to find a practitioner that's very advanced in their thinking to work with you. And all over the world, there are many of them. There's several ways to find them. But, you know, you just have to take the time to address the fact that, okay, you've got your ovaries. Those are producing some hormone. Then what are the lab testing? What does that look like? Are they producing enough? And then how do I modify that so that you get it to an optimal level? And, you know, sometimes I'm going to give this example for men. In most of the lab testing, it will say that, you know, from 200, and this is just a guesstimate, I can't remember the exact numbers, but, you know, 250 to, I think it's 500 is considered optimal. And it's really, really, really not. I mean, men in their 20s are, you know, 800 to 1,000 is optimal. So, you know, you see these men and they come in and they're dragging, and they've lost their passion for life. They've lost motivation. They don't work out anymore. They're moody. They don't have the muscle strength they used to have. And you can start them on testosterone, or you'll check their levels and they'll be, 450, and their doctor will say, well, you're within range.
Yeah.
That would not be within range for us. We would really want to see a better level. And we like to see them around 800 to 900. And we would work with them and get the pellets and then go from there.
Yeah, that reminds me of the song "Puff." My God, I'm dragging.
Yeah, that was in our show.
That was one of the songs in the musical. And these ladies did it so good. And so one of the things I was going to say, I had lost my train of thought there, because they removed my uterus. They said I don't need progesterone anymore. Well, thank God that I went to a integrative doctor that was treating my symptom of lack of sleep. I could not sleep after, I had my uterus removed. It was like, I needed something, and she would treat the symptom, and she put me on progesterone. Most doctors would have said, oh, you don't need progesterone because you don't have a uterus. And she put me on progesterone, and all of a sudden I'm able to sleep. Let's talk about the lack of sleep and some of these women that think that, maybe they're stressed or whatever, and that could be true. But what if their progesterone is low?
So lack of sleep is a big issue, and progesterone can really contribute to that. And, it contributes to a lot of other things too. Our skin, when people are really, really low in progesterone, you'll see more wrinkles. So, when you start to add these hormones back in, it makes a big difference. But progesterone is vital. And again, all those hormones are vitally important for us as women, and they do make a difference in how we sleep and have the energy during the day. And also, progesterone has a mild capacity to enhance our estrogen. So for some patients, they just get a little bit of progesterone, and that's all they need to push that estrogen level where it needs to be. So, it's just, you can't ignore progesterone. I can't even believe anybody would say that.
Well, because they said that's the norm. That's what the doctors, when you don't have a uterus, typically you don't prescribe, you don't need it.
Yeah.
That's what I was told. And, but then again, it may have been the one doctor. I am so grateful that the universe has protected me somewhat, so that, even when I didn't know about integrative, holistic, alternative, because I was totally against it, I will tell you.
Yeah.
I believed in taking that pill because that's what I was taught, take the pill and it'll make you feel better. But that one pill assumes that everybody is the same. One size does not fit all. And as you know, my registered service mark is, you can take a pill or you can take responsibility. Your body is talking to you. Mm-hmm. Our bodies are talking to us. So that symptom is a whisper. It's a little talk in your body saying, this isn't right. Because if you don't feel well, that means there's something missing. Yeah. What is that missing link? And that's what you do. You're like the puzzle maker, or you're creating this puzzle without the picture.
Yeah, exactly.
Although the Nutrival sounds like, to me, that gives you a bit of a picture of
it's a nice, like you call it, a roadmap. It's a wonderful test. It's a roadmap. And, your body changes over time. So it's good to just continue to do that over and over again, so that you can kind of keep an eye on how things are changing.
Yeah. So for those of you who want to learn more about Live Longer Medical, you can go to whenyounneedafriend.com and click onto the sponsors page. They're there, or you can go to livelongermedical.com. I don't care how you get there, period. Get there when you can, or get there if you can. And the phone number is 321-327-2980. Lisa helps people from all over the world. People from all over the world come see her because they know that for 25 years or more, you've been doing this. You've been helping from the
long time,
the mega rich, all the way to everyday life, people who just want to change, and you meet them exactly where they're at. And that's what I love, how you're changing Live Longer Medical as well, because you took ownership last year in
end of April. Yeah.
And you're making some great changes. And speaking of change, which is what the song Change,
Topic.
Change, Change is all about.
Yes.
You're having an event on March 26th, which I want for those of you who like to fly into this. It's called Brains, Beauty, and Bubbly. I love that. So talk about what people should expect at this event on March 26th, which is a Thursday, and I'll be there.
We're going to have a lot at this event. We just decided to bring several people to share. So if you really want to get a lot of education fast, we are using our exam rooms and letting different practitioners talk about what they do. So Lily will be there with the grounding mats.
And brain tap too.
And you've got brain tapping.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have First Alternatives. They're coming with the microcurrent therapies,
Mm-hmm.
which are pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a woman sharing about thermography, which
Kristen.
She's going to share a little bit about the options of using thermography over a mammogram, and how the FDA has found that it will catch and detect breast cancer issues before a mammogram. Plus, it's safer.
Yeah.
So she'll be discussing that. We'll have aesthetics. We'll have some fun aesthetics treatments that we're doing that day.
And some specials.
And some very cool deals.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be a punch card, and then your name will go in a drawing, and we have some prizes that we'll be giving away through the night. We will have organic appetizers and some bubbly. It's organic as well. And then we have also a speaker coming from Orthomolecular, and she's going to share about detoxing with your doctor, and she'll have samples, and she'll talk about their program, and they have a special on that as well. So we have a lot going on that night. It's going to be packed. So, let us know. And we do require a sign up. If you're interested in the aesthetics, you have to sign up, because it will be a long line of people.
Yeah.
To do that, so.
Well, do you need to RSVP right away, or if people want to go?
I think it'd be a wise thing to do. If you call the office and RSVP that you're coming, it would be good.
Well, can I put my RSVP in now?
Yes. You can put yours in.
And I'll have to check and see what I want to do. But anyway, yeah. So these are things. And what I love about your events is they're for men and women, right? It's not just for men, because, I know that First Alternative, I've worked with them for over 8 years. First Alternative has the pulse electromagnetic frequency bed. They also have the microcurrent, which I used both after my car accident to manage pain. And so the grounding pads help manage pain. They reduce inflammation. There's so many things that we can do, but we don't know. And having these events, especially at Live Longer Medical, not only inform us, but the fellowship, the camaraderie. Going back to the Menopause the Musical, we were there with, how many girls? 8 girls were there?
Oh, there were 8 of us.
We had dinner together. We laughed. We danced after we had so much energy after we saw them.
It was inspiring.
We danced. We created a dance floor where there was no dance floor.
That's right. We did.
And it's when you have that fellowship, that exchange of information, isn't it just absolutely phenomenal?
It really helps. And I think women need that, because when you're going through all these things, we've been so taught that it's just a part of aging. And, the research is just showing that we have options. And, I strongly encourage people to reach out and find out what their options are. And don't just sit back and think that this is just how I have to live. Don't get comfortable with that. Continue to live your life with vibrancy and health and happiness and energy. And
so, Lisa, as you are going through your menopause, have you started menopause? Have you?
I have. So I'm kind of through that process.
Is that a personal question? Was that too personal of a question?
No, it's fine. And honestly, that occurred for me in the last year. And, I check my hormones probably more than most, just because I want to really watch and see how they're changing. And then I just address it as it comes to me. But I pay attention just because I'm in this world, I'm in this field. So it's something for myself I really watch.
Yes, and I love walking in there. Now, can you do the IVs? Can IVs help with hot flashes?
I think that IVs give you what you need so that your body can stabilize. Do I think there's one nutrient that can contribute to that? I couldn't name one specifically, but I think they keep your body in a healthy state. And for years I've tried to get one IV a week. I don't always do it that way, but I think it's made a difference because even just the vitamin C increases collagen. And that's the other thing that I try to make sure I'm taking every single day. We have a private labeled product that we make for collagen for women. It helps with hair, skin, nails, and your joints. So I think that's another very, very important nutrient that as we are going through menopause, as perimenopause, I mean, I've had patients in their 30s going through menopause. Sometimes it's forced, kind of like what you experienced, but in other cases, it's just the way their body progressed into that world. It's not good for it to be that early, but you can address it and try to, eliminate some of those symptoms. But anyway, collagen is just another wonderful nutrient that, for me, I had 6 children. So having birthed 6 children, you lose your hair. And I've always had extremely thick hair and I have it back now. I've been taking collagen every single day for several years. So, just those little things can really change and help your body get back what it lost. You give a lot away when you have babies. So, and that's another hormone change that you really want to pay attention to. But, even young women who have nothing to do with menopause, and if they are having difficulty getting pregnant, they do need to see their practitioner and ask about simple things like progesterone. That can dramatically change a woman's ability to conceive. So, hormones are pretty important for women. No matter
Well, not only just conceive, because there are women conceiving, but they still don't have enough hormonal support to keep the baby. So they're having miscarriages as well. So that would be, the other side of that coin. Yeah, you can get pregnant, but you can't keep the pregnancy because there's some deficiencies there. And, I did a show many years ago, a friend of mine that was told that she could not have children, that she had like less than 2% chance. And she had a tiny little piece of her ovary left because she had endometriosis that was so bad. And, I interviewed her with the doctor that she was working with, and trying to remember Dr. Fernandez, or I remember sitting across after, she was giving that small little bit of hope that she could ever conceive, but she knew that she was going to have a child. And when she conceived the first time, and she miscarried like 5 times before she had her first child, and she was able to, by the time she had her 3rd child naturally, I had her in the classroom and I said, okay, let's talk about what you did. But wheat, dairy, sugar, those 3 things, she went without that. And those helped her conceive. She conceived 3 times. She didn't do in vitro. In the Catholic faith, they don't promote that. And, so after 3 kids, I'm like, get in here with her doctor. And it's just amazing. Just a little bit of tweaking like that.
Right.
How our life can change. Any final words, Lisa, before we finish our podcast and before we do our after-hour party?
So, the only thing I would just encourage women to do is just to really work with a practitioner that's going to take the time to look at the detail around their hormones. And, some of the young women, I was just remembering this a moment ago, who have had difficulties getting pregnant. As children, they were on multiple antibiotics. They had different diseases or issues that they were exposed to as children. And, those also have to be addressed. You can have high viral loads that can affect some of those things. So, it's comprehensive. It's not impossible, but it's comprehensive. And even just, the simple phases of change in our life going through menopause, find a way to find the laughter in it, but also find a way to get someone who's going to be on your team to help you get to where you want to be and live with longevity and energy and health and wellness. You don't want to live miserably till you're 120. You want to live vibrantly till you're 120. And we all have the capacity to live long lives. So we want to give our body what it needs to do that.
I love it. I love it. And, laughter, I was doing some research. I was at an event one time. They were talking about how important laughter is, but 5 to 10 seconds of laughter extends our lifespan 10 minutes. So can you imagine if you're laughing for 10 to 15 minutes, you burn 40 to 50 calories. So it's time to laugh. It's time to dance. It's time to enjoy no matter what's going on in our life. And it's always good to have a friend like Lisa and Live Longer Medical to help you get through these little humps along the way. So thank you. Well done, Missy.
Yay.
Well done. I'm so glad that you are a champion for men and women and that we have you here in our backyard in Florida, in the Atlantic. And so thank you, Lisa, for always being willing to share your information. And I'm looking forward to our next gathering.
Thank you. Thank you, Lily.
You're welcome. And please remember, we'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. Stay tuned. Make sure you like and follow and do all that stuff. We're going to talk after the class here. This is Lillian McDermott and Lisa Geyer wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Good job.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
Okay, so questions, anyone? Questions? I can't imagine you wouldn't have questions. Maybe your situation. Type in a Q, write your question down. You've got Lisa for free right now sharing information. And so if you want to text me your questions, some people get really shy. You know, here I am telling you I've got my ovaries, I got my cervix, and don't have my uterus. Those are things that we're like, oh my God, this is just private information. It can be private information. So if you feel that this is private and you don't want to write a question about menopause, you can text me at 407-373-5959. And I know, Lisa, you have your beautiful, handsome father, Norm, and his wife, Mary, there visiting you today. So I'm not going to steal you too long. But let's, this you had said at the end, and it resonated. I don't think we've addressed this. We talked about laughter and how, the importance of fellowship and finding your tribe and all of that. But you also said you don't want to live miserably until you're 120. And I think that there's not that many miserable people living up to 120. Let's talk about what misery can do to your body as well.
Yeah. Well, I think it breaks things down because, if you have depression that's not been addressed and you haven't found a way out of that, it really affects your immunity. Laughter alone increases your T cells, which is vitally important for immunity. And, like you said, my father is here, Norm and Mary, they're here, and we laugh all the time. My father has the most amazing sense of humor. Mm-hmm. So we do laugh all the time. And it's funny because I work so much and, I try to keep humor in my life, but boy, having my dad here has been great because he's really funny. So, find those people in your life that are really funny. And I think it makes a difference. But, all of these things that are negatives in our life can affect our immunity. Mm-hmm. Never going out in the sun, never having friendships or fun things to do every day or something to look forward to, and addressing depression and where does it come from and how do we need to take care of that. Mm-hmm. I don't think you have, a Xanax deficiency for anxiety, right? Yeah, so, nobody. These are things we have to figure out a way to deal with them. And life has some rough bumps, and making sure we have those people around us that support us and help us get through that. But, the biochemistry can be a big piece, and hormones are definitely affecting all of those issues.
I want to add to what you just said, because, they did a study in Harvard. I'm trying to think. It was in Harvard. I think it's, so even Mayo Clinic, the Mayo Clinic and WebMD, they promote laughter as medicine. It's a really good thing. Mm-hmm. But then there's the other side of that. When there's misery, just the thought, this is the study they did, the Harvard study that they did, and you can check it out on PubMed.gov. Check everything out that we talk about. Just because we're talking about it, this is our truth. You can research it yourself. Don't repeat what we say. research it yourself so that it becomes your truth, not something you're repeating. So they studied anger. They studied anger as it relates to heart disease and stroke and a weaker immune system. So this was a Harvard study that in healthy people, simply recalling the angry, the experience from the past can cause 6 hours dip in the levels of the antibody immunoglobulin. These are the cells that defend you against infection.
Right. Absolutely.
Just
I think I read that story.
Recalling.
Yeah.
You know, and I just thought, it first starts with our thoughts. Then it goes, and those thoughts convert into feelings, and those feelings convert into action.
Yeah,
what are we manifesting? What are we manifesting? And that's what, I want to leave all of you guys with, that our thoughts are so powerful. And everything starts with a thought. From an invention like a wheel or committing suicide.
Yeah.
They all started with that thought.
Right.
So if you're having thoughts that are not supporting the life you want, it's time to start there. Shift those thoughts.
Yeah.
But that blew me away, just recalling it.
That's a really good study. I've read that. It's a good one.
So with that in mind, we always end on a happy note. What was your favorite song of?
Oh God, what were those? Let's see. I had 3 favorites, and I wrote those down. The one you mentioned, I thought was great. And what was that other song? It's so good. What I thought is how they reworded everything.
Drippin' and Droopin'.
Yeah.
And Staying Awake.
Yeah, Staying Awake. Puff My God, I'm Dragging. Drippin' and Droppin', Staying Awake. Yeah, I like the Staying Awake. I think that one was really good. That was well done.
Yeah, My Thighs is instead of My Guy, and they're all in. That was one of the ones that it's like I remember working out one time in my 40s, and my coach was telling me that muscle has a memory. You can go back and you can go back to the muscle memory, that it takes you back to that muscle memory that you have. And I'm like, unfortunately, my muscle has dementia. And it's like that weakness that starts. And so you're saying that more testosterone will help me build more muscle?
Yeah. You want to have your proper testosterone level. You don't want to be like a man. You don't want to have a man's testosterone level. No. That would be a problem. And neither do men want to have, too much testosterone. I mean, we've had patients who had 2,000 was some of their levels, and that can be a problem too. And we always give men DIM, and we have women take DIM, because sometimes the conversion, DIM protects from unhealthy hormone conversion, and so we do have our patients take that as well. I should have mentioned that. I forgot. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned it now, and we got it recorded. So this is why we do the little after party. So thank you so much, Lisa. I don't want to keep you from your family and your work for today. And I'm looking forward to catching up with you. And I think I need to schedule an appointment to get my NutriVal done.
Yeah, you need to come and do that.
I love the fact that you guys also take insurance. There's not that many integrative groups that do take insurance. So good job.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And so until we see each other again for our next topic in the classroom, I'm looking forward to that day. And for those of you who are watching and want to learn more about Live Longer Medical, again, you can go to livelongermedical.com. You can also call 321-327-2980, reminding you that March 26th, it's a Thursday. What time is it? At 5 or
6 to 8 p.m.
6 to 8 p.m. Just a little bit of time will change. That little bit of time will change. I think you're going to need more time. Because, we might need a little bit more time, because
that's fine.
So much information that we're going to be absorbing. Again, that's March 26th. Make sure you RSVP if you want to be, because space is limited, and it's going to be a lot of fun. The last event you did, gosh, did we stay there till like 10 o'clock?
Oh, everybody hung out.
We just hung out. The event was done. The food was gone, but we still hung out till like 10. So
That is
that's the
great.
kind of laughter it'll build. If you go just there for the laughter and building your immune system, you'll be a winner. So thank you, Lisa, for everything you're doing to bring information into our life and empowerment.
I love it. Thanks.
I love
Have a good day.
you. Okay, everybody, we'll say goodbye on Facebook and on YouTube.